questions. So, and
I want to have a question for Erwin. Okay. My background is actually, I'm a member of Toronto Construction Association that represent the ICI sector. And one of the major challenges for suppliers usually is getting the product certified, approved.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to know, basically, from your experience, the ratio. How many new products you introduced before you have one success? And also, in general, how long does it take, as well as how much does it cost?
those are good questions.
Yes, because just like what you said earlier, Canadian Building Code has just been changed. It's going to come effective in 2013. So whoever has just finished their test now going to go have a new test done. Very expensive. For research and development, that's where we spend big chunk of our budgeting. You're looking at, we used to test the doors. I sent the doors from in China to Inner Mongolia. We sent by plane was 175 doors. Sat there for about 4 months. They flew them down south to the island called Hainan, and over there is right beside the Vietnam. We tested them for about a year and a half. Then we fly them down to Winnipeg. Very expensive, a lot of costs. But that's the only way that you know, by knowing that you have a product that will stay behind what the original design was, and also comply with the Canadian law. So the test itself, it takes very various. The new building code for us is probably going to take about 3 months to finish the testing. And we need to have an engineer right in the lab with the testing people that work with them for 3 months. Extremely expensive. In Canada, we're lucky because a lot of new building codes are actually helping the homeowners to save money on energy. Therefore, we have to comply with the Energy Star. We have to comply with the new building code, and also there's a lot of compliance you have to meet every individual provinces. So it's a lot of investment. However, that investment will come out benefits to the end user, which is all of you.
I think that applies to all industries too. So there are a lot of Canadian standards that we need to comply with. And maybe after the session, you can speak with Erwin in more detail. So any other question? The gentleman in the back?
Yes, Madam Chair, successful CEOs. Perhaps you could speak on the issue of finding a need and fill it. I've heard that if you find a need, you create a niche and fill it, you can be successful and wealthy. Perhaps you could give a few points for all of the new entrepreneurs who want to start a business, how you found needs and were able to fill it and create niche markets.
That's a great question too. So would like to start with this one?
All right, okay. All right, so I'll answer. Okay. So for our business, right? Transportation is, you see trucks, you see trains, you see planes, and containers all over the place. But in transportation, there's certain markets that we would succeed in. So at the very beginning, our niche market was the Asian marketplace, right? So new immigrant importers, right? Because my father was one of those people, right? So he was able to relate to that market and share in their pains and their gains, and he was plugged into that market because he was one of them, right? I think you're going out there saying, okay, I'm looking for a product that or a service that is underutilized in the market, but you don't have a passion for it, you can't relate to that. I don't think you'll be successful in it, right? So whatever your background is, sir, and you can translate it into a business. I think that's what you should look for instead of looking for the next underdeveloped market.
Actually, before I ask my question, I just wanted to thank Amelia. She from Canada Border Services. She told me about your seminar today. It's been very informative. I've been in business several years, and the speakers have motivated me to continue to carry on. I do some importation from China. One of the struggles that I have is trusting my vendors. I get samples in, they show me one product, but they send me something else. send me product A and I get a product B. It's a challenge that I have, and there's tremendous opportunity to grow that business. And I've told them, I explained to them, so I'm frustrated about it. What can I do to protect myself? I haven't taken the trip yet. What do I need to do?
I have the same problem. I'm not kidding. It's not just to a vendor, to a vendor issue. My own factory, they're sending me different stuff. That's another part of the service we provide with many is we also are sourcing for companies like yourself. What we do is we will go in, have our engineer to evaluate the manufacturer. But you also need to set out, that's very key. You have to set up very detailed engineer specs. And all those have to be part of your agreement. But I still recommend you, if you want to purchase from China, it doesn't matter if Vietnam, anywhere in Asia, especially across the world, you do not want to see a bad or different product to arrive here. That's too late. And also you don't want to do is you do your last inspection in the factory after you pay your deposit. Because what you're doing is basically check the body's alive or dead. That will affect your lead time. That will cost you that 30% or 50% whatever the deposit is. What you should do is hire a professional agencies and to work with them and then to go in. The QC, the main part with the QC is the QC for incoming material, QC during production. You should always receive a samples, inspect the samples during production, then the QC afterwards. So you can get our website and you can take a look at it. We do have about 10 very talented young engineers that are working with us, thus and helping a lot of Canadian companies. Some companies even tell us to go in there. They've been working with those vendors for over 10 years, but they don't want to deal with it anymore. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
So that's great. So that's great tips. So unfortunately, that might be all the time we have, and I do apologize to all those who did not have a chance to ask their questions. But before we close, may I ask each of you a final question? So if you can only offer one piece of advice to our audience today, so what would that be and why? And can you please do it in 3 sentences? So Brian, would you like to start first?
Thank you very much. Well, I said it last time, always well prepared for the worst scenario. So what if is very important to start a business and to grow a business. Never underestimate what's going to happen next. Because we do about 26 trade shows in a year. The size of the trade show that I got, the largest one is 3,400 square feet. And some of them are maybe just 200 square feet. But let me tell you, there's a lot of things that you won't believe why they happen or how it happened. But when it happened, it's already there, it's too late. And bear in mind, what if is very important in my life.
For me, I think I already said so, right? The 3 Ds word, never give up. So I hope you all don't give up yourself that easy. But one more thing I like, except never give up, you try to do your best for everything. But I would like to enhance that is, a lot of people, when I interview a lot of employees or potential employees, especially the marketing or sales department, for my fashion, they always have to sell clothes, sell t-shirts, sell stuff, get all the purchase order for me. But you know what? And there's quite only a few different categories that I can see, like after all these years, that I will see the people right away on the first 1-2 minutes. I already knowing that those people I won't hire, which is the people that always keep telling me what they're gonna be able to do in the future. Okay, they keep telling me, you know what, Dan, don't worry. I'll be this, I will be that, I'll be this and that. Okay? A lot of people misunderstood, goal and future. Because if you have a goal, okay, no matter what you do, you reach your goal direct. For example, give you an example, like if you want to go downtown, okay, you can take Yonge Street, you can take Avenue Road, you can take Bayview, you can even take the highway, DVP. It doesn't matter how you go down to downtown, as long as your direction is right. Maybe when you go on Young Street, there is a construction, you have to change to Bayview. Doesn't matter. It may take longer time, but you will still going your goal. But a lot of people, they just talk. They just say, oh, in the future I'll be this and that. Okay, in the future I'll be an entrepreneur. In the future I'll be rich. Okay, but today you are still playing video game at home and not doing anything. Okay.
Action.
Yeah. So basically, what I want to say is, try your best. Never give up every single day. Finish your daily work. No matter is your boss giving you the job to do or your own job, you have to finish. Finish it every day the best you can. Okay? And your future will naturally come. You don't have to think that much. But you do have a goal. You do need a goal. Okay?
Thank you. Very much.
Yeah, I think misconception about entrepreneurs is that they run the whole business and they do everything. My piece of advice is stick to what you're good at in your business and let other people help you with the other parts, right? Like Brian says, you build up a really good team behind you in your business, right? You have to have a good finance person, a good marketing person, a good salesperson, right, or the marketing team, and let the business run itself, right? You're the one who gives the guidance and have a good team behind you. Not only in business, but also at home. You also have to have a strong support team at home, whether it's your parents or your spouse or whatever. That's also very important. Because they can easily distract you from your business, which gives you a quality of life.
The last thing is always keep this in mind. Entrepreneur does not make money. Whenever you want to get into the entrepreneurship and start your own business, you have to prepare you lose money first. You got to prepare at least 3 years that you're not going to make anything at all. And then, hopefully that rhyme 10 years, but you have to prepare the worst. And then you have to know you are able to sustainable for that period of time for the worst situation. Then you might break even. Then you might starting to make money. So prepare the worst, and then you might see a bright future right in front of you.
Right, that's so true. We need to have a contingency plan. So actually, the venture capitalists that I've mentioned to you earlier also mentioned to me that it's not just the people that make a business successful. It's actually people that make a business successful and not technology. So it is not what you do, but how you do it. And also to echo the other gentleman's question is that when we start a business, we do not just start when we have a business idea. So very often when I meet with clients, they say, I have a business idea, I want to start a business, and I will be successful. But actually, a successful business does not just take a business idea. First of all, you have to find clients. You have to find the needs for that business, for that product or that service. So that is the key. So I hope we all have learned something today. And if you are either thinking about starting your own business or you're already running a business, I hope that you'll be able to share your success story with us next time on the panel here. And so thank you to everyone on the panel for joining us today. It's very stimulating and also very enjoyable too. Thank you. So let's give them a round of applause.
So first of all, I would like to thank the ACCE for including us today here. We appreciate the opportunity to come and just visit with you folks once a year, twice a year, and we are strong supporters of the ACCE year-round. So just a few facts about Walmart stores. Our net sales are currently over $444 billion. The operating income is $26.6 billion. Those numbers are both from our last fiscal year's results. Stores worldwide, we have over 10,000 stores in 27 countries. The last additions to that were all the African countries from MassMart that came on board within the last year. Walmart associates, over 2.2 million worldwide. I heard yesterday that in the US there are 1.4 million associates. And to put that into perspective, that's 2 cities the size of Winnipeg in associates. So it's an awful lot of associates. Customer count. Now think about this one, because this has big implications for anyone who wants to deal with Walmart.
Over 200 million visits per week to Walmart stores worldwide. Headquarters for Walmart is in Bentonville, Arkansas. There was a time not too long ago, about 15 years ago, when you had to fly into Tulsa, Oklahoma and drive for 4 hours to get to Bentonville. But now there's a nice shiny big airport right outside the city of Bentonville. And Walmart is ranked number 2 in revenue by Fortune 500. Typically we seesaw back and forth between Walmart and Exxon. If it's a good year in the oil business, Exxon is number 1. So this year they happen to be number 1 in the rankings. Walmart is a public company, so for those of you who own shares in Walmart, you would know that yesterday was the annual shareholders meeting. It took place in Bentonville, just outside Bentonville, Arkansas, and Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is the home of the University of Arkansas. And if you're a shareholder, I believe you could have watched the entire proceedings from 8 until noon yesterday on a webcast. I got to watch part of it at home office, and it's a really interesting thing to see. Walmart arrived in Canada in 1994 by buying the existing Woolco chain, which at that point was not in very good shape. Currently we have 333 stores in Canada, and we will be opening somewhere around 35 to 40 supercenters this year. Now, not all of those are brand new stores. We do have some brand new stores in that mix, but we also have several relocations, we have several expansions, and quite a number of in-boxes, which is where we take an existing store, we move some things out of the center, and we drop the food section right down in the middle. In addition to those 35 to 40 supercenters that we're doing this year, we've also acquired 39 stores from Zellers. This was part of that big Target deal. These are stores that Target didn't match Target's profile, and so they moved on to us. And most of those will be grand opening sometime this year. We have nearly 90,000 associates, so we're one of Canada's largest employers. And we have 1 million customers through our doors every day. And for you folks, this has huge implications. Think about 1 million people potentially looking at your product every single day of the year. Canadian headquarters are in Mississauga. And we have been named one of Canada's top 10 corporate cultures by Waterstone Human Capital. Now, there's some implications of being a public company. We report essentially not only to our customers, but to our shareholders. And so they expect us to grow the company and leverage the returns, which means growing profits more than sales and growing inventory less than sales. One of the big themes that has emerged from Walmart in the past 10 years is Walmart and sustainability. Lee Scott was the president in the U.S. at the time when he decided that this was something that we could really champion as a large organization and take it to the next level. So we are in Canada a vanguard purchaser of Bullfrog Power, which is sustainable power. We have built the most energy efficient warehouse of its size in Canada in Balzac, Alberta, and this is one of the perishable food DC. And the engineering group that put that DC together were challenged to do some things that had never been done before, like using hydrocell technology on all the jacks and forklifts. And they said it couldn't be done, and we actually did it. We also have the sustainability spill over in a big way with our vendor community. So one of the big initiatives that's ongoing and has been going on for about 4 years now is in packaging. And what we ask our vendors to do is to give us all the information about how their product is built and how the packaging is built, so that we can work together to find ways to eliminate some of the waste. Because as all of you know, to ship something that's 5 pounds costs a lot more than to ship something that's 3 pounds. So eliminating some of the unnecessary packaging can make a big difference, not only in the size of the product or the way that it shows on the shelves, but also in something that impacts your bottom line, like shipping. We also work with manufacturers of brand name products to make those products more sustainable. And I think one of the first initiatives that we had on this front was when our chemicals buyer, household chemicals buyer, Frank Morin, started working with the folks at Tide to produce a laundry detergent that had less water in it, that was more higher strength. And that cut down on what the customer had to carry home, first of all. It cut down on the cost to ship it, and it made the packaging smaller. So it was a win for everyone on that front. Another one that we talk about, because we just launched the products in store, our stores bundle up all their corrugate cardboard and it gets recycled. Most of it gets recycled back to a company out of southern Quebec called Cascade or Cascades. If you go into our stores and walk down the paper aisles, you'll see Cascades paper towels and toilet paper. And it's all made from the cardboard that's come from Walmart stores. So they literally harvest stuff that was previously going into a landfill and turn it into something that's usable, that's saleable. Because frankly, at my household, I really don't want to be wiping up the counters with something where we've had to cut down trees just for me to do that. This, to me, makes a lot more sense. So we have all sorts of other stories that are in the works with working with vendors to provide more sustainable products that work for both sides, that work for the customer, but also work for the vendor as well. We have currently 77% of our waste is diverted in our stores. So it gets separated and it gets sent out to the appropriate place so that it can be recycled. And in home office, we're actually over 95%. So we're virtually everything that comes out of home office is recycled in one way, shape, or form. And since 2009, all our brand new stores, all our greenfield stores, are energy efficient. So a little bit about our corporate culture. If you ever have the opportunity to visit our home office and come inside where vendors are generally not permitted, you will notice there are a lot of signs through the building showing Sam Walton and other people that have been important to the company, some of the first presidents that followed Sam, and some of the things that they have said over the years. And three things every Walmart associate will know about, and these are our basic beliefs. So respect for the individual, service to our customers, and that doesn't just mean the people in the stores, that means the people that we work with in home office every day, it means the district managers, it means the store associates, it means everybody that we come in contact with. In fact, for me, it means the ACCE. And then striving for excellence, because one of the things at Walmart is you're not just stuck where you are. You can do something great. Everybody can do something great. So, what do we stand for? Well, for the most part, it's all about the customer. Virtually everything that someone in my position as a buyer would be looking at is to do with the customer. What's the best experience for the customer going to be? So our brand consists of 4 basic pillars, and I guess the most important one of these is everyday low prices. So for a buyer, that means the lowest cost or everyday low cost. And for the customer, it means everyday low price or the lowest retail. And I think if you've seen our advertising on TV, you'll know that our tagline these days is save money, live better. And that's really, really what it's all about in a nutshell. So the best cost will be very, very important because it leads you to the best retail, which leads you to the best deal for the customer. And it circles back to leveraging the cost and the retail for our shareholders. Another thing that is important to us, and increasingly so, is quality merchandise. There was a time when we were not particularly well known for quality merchandise. But that has been something that we have been working on since I've been with the company, which is 11 years now. And particularly in general merchandise, hard lines, and apparel, all the direct import merchandise that we bring in as a company is tested. Every single thing is tested now. And in fact, we are moving towards having everything, even if it comes from a local Canadian vendor, having that all tested as well. That's really one of the ways that we can ensure that the product that we're bringing in does have the quality that our customers expect. Food is slightly different, and we mandate all the audits that are necessary for factories just to make sure that everything is done according to standard. And if it's not to standard, we don't buy it. Strong customer service. And we're constantly working in our sector to be the best in our sector. We're not Holt Renfrew. We're never going to have that many people standing around waiting to be asked questions. There is a balance involved in this because we do have to manage the expenses. But believe me, this is a discussion, customer service is a discussion that is held somewhere in our building almost every day. And the stores work diligently to make sure that there are improvements made over the long haul in that. One of my favorite things that Walmart does is the local community involvement. And we have 4 charities that we support. We support Breakfast for Learning, which, if you're not familiar with it, it was started by a gentleman out of Montreal when he noticed that there were children in poor neighborhoods who were not getting enough nutrition to start the school day. And it's become a national program, and we participate in that, both with helping the organization and with collecting money at the cash register once a year. We also support the Red Cross, and that's pretty much, I believe that's internationally. I know that in the States, when there have been big tragedies that have happened, Hurricane Katrina being one, we partnered with the Red Cross and made sure that people were taken care of. Evergreen is another one, and that's one that is a sustainable one. But the biggest one for us is the Children's Miracle Network. And if you're not familiar with this, this is a program that involves the major children's hospitals from coast to coast. And if you're not busy next Sunday morning, Walmart is hosting, I think it's our 7th annual Walmart Walk for Miracles in support of the Children's Miracle Network. There will be 10 walks across the country, and we raise a lot of money for the Children's Miracle Network on this day. So, now down to the nuts and bolts of what you came for. I think the biggest thing that I can say about approaching Walmart is that you need to be very professional. Although everyone at Walmart will do their best to help you, we're not a business college. We can't educate you in what you need to do. You need to come professional and prepared. So I will elaborate on some of those details on the next page. I think the most important thing is to do your research. Over my retail career, I've met a lot of vendors, and I always ask them, if I've not met them before, and if they don't have a national brand name product, what do you think of our stores? And it horrifies me that so many of them look at me blankly because they've never set foot in a Walmart store. They have no idea what it looks like. They may not need, there may be not the shopper in the family, so they've never set foot in a Walmart store. And I really can't stress enough how important it is for you to know what a Walmart store looks like. And because we have several different styles of Walmart stores, we have the big super centers, like the one at Warden and Eglinton. We have the new urban prototype like the one at Markham and Eglinton, which if you haven't visited, you really should because it's small, it's very compact. Where the one at Warden and Eglinton goes on forever, the one at Markham and Eglinton is very petite and pulled together. You need to understand the differences between these stores and how they function. The other thing you need to do these days that I wouldn't have said even as recently as last year is you need to visit our e-commerce site because we're now selling merchandise online. We're slowly rolling out the categories. The big rollout last month was babies' diapers. And so we're looking at selling just about everything online these days, so you need to know how your product would fit into the e-commerce world as well. And you need to know Walmart's competition. Now, it's a little hard on the mass marketing side right now. Zellers is kind of on their way out. Target isn't here yet. But there are all sorts of other retailers you can benchmark for specific categories. So if you are in sporting goods, you need to know what Canadian Tire is doing, because we very much view Canadian Tire as competition. If you're in kids wear, you probably need to know what someone like H&M is doing in kids wear, because they are very much play in our price points when it comes to kids wear. When it comes to food, it gets a little more problematic, especially in the major cities in Canada where there is so much ethnic food activity. For us, we look at not just the main players like Loblaws and No Frills. We also are very active in shopping the ethnic food markets. I could give you a guided tour of Foodie Mart quite nicely, and I can tell you it's a great value for lunch. So you need to know what the competition is doing with regards to your products. You also need to know who your direct competitors are for that space on the shelf. Because you have to remember, just because you come with a great item, that doesn't automatically mean there's going to be available space for it. Something else will typically have to leave that shelf in order for your product to come in. So you need to have a very, very compelling reason why a buyer would make that decision. They're going to take out something that they know and understand. They have maybe not great sales, but predictable sales, and put in something that's an unknown. You need to come with a very compelling reason why they should consider doing that. You also need to understand the law. One of the big opportunities that we've had over the last 5-6 years is labeling, particularly on food. But it's not just on food. One of the things that we get approached by U.S. vendors frequently with great buys on things that they can't sell in the States. Problem with that is it's not legally labeled for Canada. Everything coming in has to be English and French. It has to follow the rules. When it comes to food, it has to be CFIA nutrition labeled. It has to be bilingual. It has to be perfect. So be prepared if you're coming with something that isn't perfect now to be able to explain when it will be perfect, because as a buyer, not allowed to put that product on the shelf if it's not 100% legally labeled. Have a written business plan. And this isn't the one that you take to your bank about how you're going to make your company work. This is a business plan specifically for your product. You need to define what your offering is. And if you have a range of things, you need to know which are your best items, because any buyer will tell you they can't all be equally good. What's your best one? And understand that everyday low cost and everyday low price are going to play such a big part in the decision on buying or not buying that product. And marketing and promotion are things that are also very important to us. And that doesn't necessarily mean running a national ad in a big publication. That's not necessarily what it's about. But there are a number of smaller things that can be done, even if it's just placement of one item in a flyer. If it's an ethnic item, then it could be placement of that item in one of our ethnic broadsheets that we do periodically. There's all sorts of ways of doing it. Also, it could mean, again, with regards to e-commerce, being willing to pay for a banner to put on the website so that people can be directed to your product. So be prepared to talk about that sort of thing, and also be prepared to know what your financial limits are within that and what your priorities should be. Also have a good idea of how you'd like to see this look to a customer in the store. Not everybody's going to get the exact great piece of real estate that they want. Not everybody can have the shelf at eye level. But if you have something interesting and unique that might help your product stand out on the shelf, then come with that idea as well. Know your limitations. If you're a small company, don't promise that you're going to be able to do everything immediately. You may not have the financial resources to do that. Walmart is a big company with 1 million customers every day. We can crank through a lot of merchandise, and you need to be aware of what your capabilities are with regards to supplying Walmart. And when you do come for a meeting, have some questions, because people on the outside of Walmart, people who've never worked in Walmart, have never dealt with Walmart, do have questions. And I've sat through meetings with vendors where they were just simply unprepared to voice what those questions are. And then you get a phone call 2 days later asking the things that they needed to know at the time. Come prepared with those questions, think that through, and be ready with that. The other thing you need to concern yourself with is the e-commerce question. Again, this is something that's fairly new for all of us, and you need to think through if that's something that's going to be for you. You may have some questions surrounding that when you come in for your meeting. Now, the one thing that is a bit unique about Walmart in my experience is that other retailers that I've worked for, buyer buys the merchandise, you put it on the shelves. If you don't see the vendor again until they have something new, that's fine. We expect our vendors to be partners. This is two-way communication. We have a wonderful, wonderful system that allows us to share information with the vendors. The first step in being a partner is our vendor agreement. And it's a big one, and it's very detailed, and it takes some work to get through. It's done online, it's not a hard copy, but everybody manages to get through it in the end. One of the things you'll notice in the vendor agreement is that there is a rather large section on ethical standards. And that's because we expect our vendors to be as ethical as we are. And there's a very specific list of things that vendors must do in order to maintain those standards. That includes things like factory audits. Our direct import team will do factory audits. I have a whole team worldwide that will do them as well. And we do expect a greater level of sharing and accountability. We have a system called Retail Link, and what that does is it gathers all the information on point-of-sale purchases, shipments, by store, by region, by district. You can slice and dice this information any way you want. Vendors have access to their own product information. And it's interesting to watch some of the good vendors that understand how we expect the vendors to participate, because they will start looking at those numbers, those reports that they can generate on a daily or weekly basis, and start feeding back information to the buyer. And in some cases, even if the product starts selling extremely well right out of the gate, vendors can even write their own orders and submit them for the buyer to put through the system. So there is a lot of pressure put on the vendors to participate. It's not just sell the product and then walk away. It is a day-to-day participation with the buyers. It also involves inventory management, so vendors need to watch what the inventory is, and if it's somewhere where it's not selling, action needs to be taken, and it's always better if it comes from the vendor. And the system also allows vendors to track their payments, and they can tell there's an accounts payable part where you can go in and see when your check was sent out. Sustainability initiatives, we have the For the Greener Good program. So if you have a product that has a really good sustainability story, that is always a great consideration for us. And also the vendor manual, we have the vendor manual which is available on Retail Link, and it has a lot of tremendous information in it as well. So what I've done now is we have some links to some of the websites. I have a handout here that has all these links in them, so you'll be able to come down and get them. But just some links on Walmart that you should investigate. There's the Walmart Canada website. Then there's the Walmart US website. And there's also a Walmart Investors website that you can go into, which will give you a whole lot of data about the company and its origins. Then there's also Walmart stores. And we have, in Canada, we have one called For the Greener Good, which is sustainability. And then we also have the corporate sustainability website in Canada as well. Government of Canada. What can I say? They have more websites than Walmart. And some of these things, these are just things that I've kept over the years that have helped vendors who needed some guidance on some of these things. GST registration, if you happen to be a US vendor, found that really useful. Food labeling, I cannot stress to you how important the food labeling piece is for Walmart. Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Packaging and labeling, there's a lot of things that are in that one. Textile labeling, which again is a whole different kettle of fish. And then importing information, duty rates. Because Walmart Canada only buys in Canadian dollars, unless it is a direct import program that is shipping on a letter of credit from overseas. And then lastly, I got a couple of other governmental agencies that I've had the pleasure of crossing paths with over the years. The TSSA, which is Technical Standards and Safety Authority. And they cover a lot of things, including any stuffing that might be in any article, whether it's luggage, or shoes, or slippers, or pillows, for that matter. And then the Underwriters Laboratory of Canada, who does all the certification on electrical appliances. So that's it for my presentation. We have some time for questions. I'm quite happy to take questions if anybody has any thoughts they want to share.
Question for you. What percentage of product do you...
It varies widely by category. I don't have an exact one because we're in the process of trying to grow that. We do some direct imports in conjunction with some of the brand name companies, so it's not all just things that would appear under our own labels. But it is a growing category that we have right at the moment.
Growing category to deal with vendors or to deal directly with manufacturers?
Sorry, say that again?
Is it growing dealing directly with manufacturers or growing with a vendor?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yeah, both.
The other question I have is, what's the cost of shelf space?
Bring us the best product at the best price.
Everybody wants shelf space, price for shelf space. If you have the best product, the most exciting product, you still have to pay shelf space.
Not at Walmart.
Not at Walmart.
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, good.
Any more questions? Like, as you mentioned, the criterion for your food market. So, what criteria do you have in the apparel sections? Where can I get the information regarding that?
Sorry, Mr. Martin.
Where can I get the information regarding the criteria for apparels, your clothing sections?
Well, we don't really have anything that is published in the way that you're asking. You would have to come in and deal with a buyer first, and they would give you the specifications that they wanted.
Okay, and no problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Walmart Canada will purchase for itself, or the purchase will be done in the U.S. in headquarters?
Sorry, missed the
Purchase for Canada, Walmart Canada will be done here in Canada,
Right.
or will be done in U.S. headquarters?
Here.
So each country will purchase by themselves?
Correct. Yeah, we have a big organization here. We purchase for ourselves. We have ASDA in the United Kingdom. They purchase for themselves. Walmart US purchases for themselves. There will be buying offices in Africa. I don't really know how many. I believe it's one. There's a buying office in China for the Chinese market. And there's one in Japan for Seiyu.
So it means all been done in Southern?
It's all done, yes, exactly. Yep. And if you have a problem with that, I leave my business card up here, you can call me.
For example, if we want to know some, like your sale data or your sale report for the last 3 years for one category product, and whether we can get information from you.
No, that would not be the kind
So
of...
how we can compare or some third-party checks? For,
Yeah, it's Dun & Bradstreet. I think what we do now is we, as part of the vendor agreement process, the vendor has to get a Dun & Bradstreet done and submit it to us.
There's a question.
To find out how deep do you track the customers, like using RFIDs or anything?
No. No, we're not, as far as I know, we're not using anything on RFID right now. We're just measuring at a store level what goes through the cash, really. We do have a number of other ways that we talk to the customer about their shopping habits at Walmart, but those tend to be focus groups. They're done through marketing. They're more marketing insights rather than hard data.
Well, what procedure do you have for the inspection there? How can we?
Well, it depends how you want to do it. If you own the factories that are over there and you want our direct import people to talk to you, then that's one way that it gets done. If you want to be, do you own the factories or are you just an agent for it? Okay. Your better route is to go through our direct import people and talk to them. And if you take my card, email me and I will get you the name. Okay? Depends on the category. We use one lab worldwide to do things, I believe, at the moment. Two, sorry, we have two. A different one for hard lines, is my understanding. And so we pretty much have the standards that we've set that we feel are appropriate for our company.
So I guess through your vendor agreement that you have posted online, it probably stipulates standards that you set?
Yeah.
Is it understood then that a supplier would submit their product for QC at Walmart before it goes on the shelf? Is that the way it works?
Probably not a bad idea.
Oh, it's voluntary.
I would believe that would be voluntary to do it in advance. Kind of like doing a house inspection before you sell the house, so that you can lay it out there and say it's good to go. As a buyer, I think that's a great negotiating tool. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving us this informative knowledge and session.